Hello, listeners, and thanks for tuning into Laid Back Discussions with Andi and Emily, where we discuss a little bit of anything and everything from current events, daily life struggles, music, video games, politics, religions, beliefs, and so much more. If you like our show and want to interact with us, find us on Facebook at Laid Back Discussions with Andi and Emily. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
Emily, my girlie.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
How are you?
I hope you're doing better than I am. Like you said, we're having girl issues, so that's why we're a little late on uploading, but it's all good.
Right, definitely. I'm sure you can hear the difference in my voice. I'm very congested. There were some control burns happening up the road, and we slept with the window open because it was real hot. And woke up the next day, and I'm just feeling so crappy. So that was on me.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate because, like I said, I've been complaining, but I've been buried under snow, and then I get one glimpse of some grass.
Right.
Once the snow melted, I got a little bit of a peak of grass, and I'm like, it's time for me to go outside.
Yeah.
I gotta go outside.
I'm glad you got to go outside and get some, well, I say fresh air, but freaking chemtrails and all. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. No, let's say it. Let's say it. Let's go outside and enjoy this fucking plastic air.
Yeah, the plastic air. I love aluminum and magnesium in the morning,
Yes.
in high amounts. Give me some high dosage.
I know. We're supposed to be so laid back, but we're gonna lay back. Compared, we're not marching in the streets and burning down buildings. So I think protesting on a podcast is pretty laid back at this point. You know?
We're just exercising our free speech, and we're being very nice about it too.
Yeah, and if you don't agree, please tell us and the public, for that matter, why you don't agree.
Yes, if anyone has questions about any topic that we are discussing, feel free to message us or send us an email through the podcast. Just hit us up because we will definitely respond. We ain't got nothing else to do but talk.
And go ahead, try to gaslight me. I married one. I married a gaslighter. I know how to react now.
Yep.
I know how to react without reacting through emotion. I will pull facts out of my asshole.
Yes. Amen, sister.
I'm gonna come at you with facts. You can come at me with your opinion, because I already said asshole, so apparently we can say asshole. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. But tell me if you think mine is wrong. Go ahead and tell me why. I will have a healthy debate with you.
Absolutely.
And I just nicked. If you hear some nicks and shuffling in the background, it's because I've been a busy woman.
Right. Well, that's good. Good for you, especially since
yesterday. You would never believe that I have an attention disorder. Yesterday, if I told someone, yeah, I got diagnosed and they gave me a ADD medicine and I just focused and did everything that I wanted to do. If I told someone that, they would probably believe it. Because it was the one day where we didn't have to do anything yesterday, which was a Sunday. And so I woke up and it was my daughter's birthday weekend, which is another reason why I'm a little late on uploading this weekend, but it was not her birthday. It was the day after her birthday, but birthday weekend still kind of counts as birthday, right?
Yeah, it's still relatively busy.
Yeah. And so to make a post just to celebrate her, I was going through old photos, and I had a photo of when she had hardly any toys, when she first moved in. And she was painting her room the color that she wanted it. And we had an after picture once she painted her room and she had her bed made. She was all proud, and we took a picture, and I was like, look how much room is in your bedroom. It doesn't look like that right now because you have so much stuff.
Definitely.
So, coming from a family of clutter, I'm not going to say hoarders because they were not as bad as some can get. And I'm not saying that with any judgment. I have total empathy for hoarders because if I could just clean people like hoarders' houses for free,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely do that just because I get satisfaction out of seeing the job that I've done, and I get satisfaction out of
Mm-hmm.
making someone's living space better for them.
Absolutely. Me too.
Especially especially if they have a physical or a mental disability that like kind of like
Prevents them
um
from doing so, yeah.
uh-huh.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
and it's
it's like
always
it's not
fun to
their fault. Sometimes
yeah,
it's usually their upbringing and how their emotional tie to things and memories, you know?
yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it is consumerism too. That's like pushed on us as a way of life and like
Mm,
I like
absolutely.
cleaning somebody else's house because it's a new thing. It feels exciting. You're like, "Oh, this isn't the same counter I clean all the time."
Right? It's a treasure hunt and you're doing a good deed at the same
Yeah.
time.
Or like, "Oh, you got that old casserole dish? That's so cool."
Yes, absolutely. If someone asks me to come help them clean, I will 10 out of 10 times say yes. Unless of course I have to take my daughter to a doctor or something, unless it's like priority wise not
Yeah.
as important as something I have to do that day. But I will totally come over in my free time anyone, anywhere, anytime, you know.
And help clean it.
And why? Can someone please just tell me why it's I mean, you've already kind of said it. It's just because it's not the same thing that you clean every day and it's someone else's stuff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
not trying to be nosy, but I mean, it's just new, so it's
Right.
interesting.
But also it's for a good cause. And when you're doing something for a good
Mhm.
cause, it's empowering. So
Yeah,
I help people
I
as
just
often
wish
as I
I had
can.
more local friends so I could be like, hey, come help me clean. Because I
Hmm.
would totally sign up for that, but I would like to test like how many friends would actually come over to my house and help me clean. Because
Right.
that's literally what turned into just cleaning my daughter's room. She decided that she wanted a dresser in her bedroom,
Mhm.
and there's no lack of dressers in this house. I've actually complained about how many dressers we have in this house. Like, a family of this much should not have this many dressers in this
Right.
house. Why? So I had an extra dresser in the laundry room, so I moved it to her bedroom. It was just a big charade of playing like move this here, move that there, organize this, organize that. It was
Yeah, those
absolute
are fun.
craziness, but Elena is very, very satisfied with her room, and
Cool.
I'm satisfied with it too. So now I have a reason to say, hey, I helped you clean it. Let's keep it this way.
Yes, yes, and she'll feel really proud of it, and hopefully it'll stay clean.
Yeah, she was telling me she had some doubt. She's like, I didn't think we were gonna get all this done today. I'm like, well, you have to have a little bit of faith, and even though cleaning sucks, like, just
Mm,
imagine how good it's gonna feel in a new space that is yours, all to yourself.
yep, absolutely. These kids need to learn responsibilities.
I don't want no more responsibilities.
And see, we've been overloaded with responsibilities too because of like the society we live in. Like it's
Huh?
so ridiculous. I don't like it. I don't want to do that.
No, I used the term from our first episode or demo episode, whatever. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I'm
Yeah.
so tired of it.
And we're not gonna be too upset because that's not too damn
Absolutely
bad. We're gonna
not.
fix it.
Like, just like I'm raising my daughter to have like a clean room, I'm also raising her to know that she has a voice. She doesn't listen to everything that I say on the podcast, but
Yeah.
she does like to enjoy like listening here and there, especially whenever I talk about her and the gaming and like her crafting and all that. And I see like in her eyes, she's proud of like, following
Yeah.
what you want to do versus what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't it's like Pink, we're gonna talk about a little bit about musicians.
Hmm.
Pink was she's one of my favorite singers and she's still kind of very cool to me. But she's
Yeah.
always like, you have to be who you are and if you fit outside of the box and everybody says, "Oh, you're scary or dangerous or crazy or whatever," you know, like you don't have to worry about what they think because you're you. And that's very empowering. You have to have your voice, especially in a society where people are really trying to silence free speech. Like, absolutely. Find your path and stick to it. That's how I feel. Like, don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yes. And I've never seen an age where people are trying to be just silenced so much, censored.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is censored, and why?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we ask why? Like I said in like a few episodes back, Moana, people were saying you can't go past the reef. Okay, but can you tell us why?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy times that we're living in 2025. It is.
Yeah. We went past the reef. We found out there's a whole bunch of other people on their islands, and we've talked to those people, and all of the people agree we don't like the people who are in charge making life harder for the poor people. And then
Exactly. I love
they
how
don't want
all
us
of
talking
our
about it.
episodes, our previous mentions, like all the ants need to come against the grasshoppers in Bug's life.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't need, like I'm cool with each state having their own governor but the people who are working in our states, they need to be investigated and heavily vetted by us, not just people
Yes.
we are supposed to be able to trust. Like we need to go ahead and do the digging and maybe even go out of our way to meet these people, especially before we vote for them. But definitely the federal government needs to back off and release assets, and they need to have like massive layoffs as far as I'm concerned, especially because all of our, like, most of our taxpayer dollars was going to animal cruelty in some cases, and I'm not okay with that.
Definitely not. But yeah, I agree with you 100% because I'm not going to pinpoint names, but I have seen some like government officials, especially in Arkansas. I'm sure there's some
Mm-hmm.
in every state, but with some very heinous charges.
Yeah, very questionable to say the least.
Very questionable indeed.
And it's like, how in the world did they get not only to where they are, and I'm very sure that people like Hillary Clinton still have some say in what's going on. I don't think she's just completely disappeared, even though she's not like right in the news all the time. She's clearly still around because she was at the inauguration. And I don't know, to me, it just there's something fishy, and the less money we give the federal government, the less say that they have over us, the better. Like, and I found this little article the other day. It was telling me how, like, the 16th Amendment, where it's like the IRS is formed and they're supposed to have the income tax and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it was never fully ratified. And there's
Ratified. Define ratified. I don't know what that word.
like it was signed into law without the proper voting, but it wasn't actually signed into law because there wasn't enough voting on it. So, and that was like, it was 1913, but in 1985 in Indianapolis, there was this lawyer. Okay, so a guy he was like supposed to have to pay back taxes, and his lawyer was like, hey, he didn't have to pay anything because the 16th Amendment was never fully ratified. And in the document, and I have a screenshot of it too, in the document, it was saying how he had irrefutable evidence that it wasn't ratified. And they were supposed to dismiss the charges. That man didn't have to pay anything. Everything was supposed to be really hush hush. And they talked specifically about how people aren't supposed to be just widely made aware of this. So, I mean, if you ever have a problem with your damn back taxes or whatever, you can just tell the IRS, hey, we don't owe you anything. Bye.
Wow. I'm gonna have to actually. I think I probably sound like such a dumb American because
No.
I'm gonna have to read for word, like word for word, the Constitution because I'm worried for our constitutional rights.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead and write it down on a piece of paper in case they try to take it
Hmm.
down. Because if they shut off the internet and we don't already know it by heart, I mean, there you go.
No, exactly. Like you said, screenshots don't lie.
Mm-hmm. And this was like March 1st, and Girl, I'd looked so hard to try to find it in their district court stuff, like on their website. And I know 85 was a while ago, but I wanted to see the actual stuff. So I'm really thinking about signing the Freedom of Information Act and trying to get that information and see the actual court case. So
No, I feel like voting, and if Donald Trump is going to, I'm not gonna say if I am for or against Donald Trump. Like, I am trying to be as unbiased as possible, you know?
yeah, but he's made me mad. So you could say what you want, girl. Like I
But
did vote for him, but
the audacity that he has to sign so many, like, just orders while he's doing a public interview, like, that shows how much real thought that he's putting into his orders that he's just signing left and right, you know?
yeah. I mean, I know Biden. He did also the same thing. He was signing stuff. Apparently, he didn't even know what it was. But that's what they do. You know, they kind of make it to where you don't know what's going on because it's like
He
1,500 pages or something. Like freaking Winds of Winter or something's gonna be.
They just present you with a booklet that looks fancy and says, "Here, sign this. It's better for America."
Yeah, yeah. And they hide stuff in there. Like, ooh, that Project Veritas guy, James O'Keefe. But
Mhm.
his people found that found a they recorded a man who was saying, guess what? You know, like, I know for sure he didn't know what was in that bill because we hide things. We purposely hide things. That way we can get away with our corruption. And this is verbatim, but it's crazy. But there's video evidence. Like, he admitted it, and he's a federal employee. Like, what the fuck, man? Pardon my language.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love some Kim Possible undercover Perry the Platypus shit like that, man.
And it's Scooby Doo shit too because they like uncovered the villains. I love it. It's so cool. That's like what we were raised on. And like Kim Possible, especially, she was spying hardcore.
Woo! I
And
love KP.
yes, it was amazing. And she had a cute little sidekick too. But at the same time, like the whole entire goal was to do good things and do the right thing and expose injustice. And I like 2025 for that.
Right, we
It's
thought we were gonna have flying cars, but instead we have a podcast where we just fucking
Mhm.
Karen, okay? To anyone and everyone who will listen.
Yes. And
And
I
I
know.
remember watching Kim Possible. Okay, I gotta share this. Since we're on a detour, like I said, there's gonna be many detours in this series, but since we're on a detour of Kim Possible, you know how she used to, like, talk to her watch?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Whenever
was
I
the best
bought
watch.
whenever I bought my first smartwatch, which has lasted me longer than all of my phones.
Right.
I remember talking on it, and I'm like, I told my mom. My mom was probably the first phone call I made, and I'm like, I feel like I'm Kim Possible right now. I'm talking on my watch, and of course, we dreamed about that kind of future, but we didn't dream about this kind of politics, you know?
Definitely not. I mean, unless it's like freaking what were those little mice's name? The one who was trying to take over the world.
Pinky in the brain. What are we
Yes.
gonna do today, brain? Same thing we
That's
do
what
every day,
it is.
Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Right.
Me and my
That's what
husband
they
have a
were
running
doing.
joke with that. I always ask him, "What are we gonna do today, brain?"
That's so cute. I love that. I
Same
can't believe
thing
I
we do
forgot the
every
name.
day, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Let's do it. Let's take over the world.
Yeah, and bring back 90s cartoons while we're at it. Like, cancel the streaming shit.
Yeah, and I would love to see like less CGI. And I know maybe that's controversial, but
No,
think about like
no,
all the
I
talent.
agree. I
I mean, more
totally
artists.
agree.
Like the way my kids are drawing right now, they could be artists one day if they had like an actual opportunity, you know. But they can't because everything's digitized or AI or CGI or whatever.
Exactly. And also, another thing that I thought that we would have in 2025 would possibly be like time machines, but we just need to be our own time machine and maybe go back in time a little bit.
Mhm. Well, I think there's a lot to be said for learning about like sound frequencies and stuff. And I have heard like that. So if there's like a radio in one room in your house, right? Like that radio has about 100 different stations that you can access, but you can only listen to one of them at a time. That's kind of how it is, like just in the world. There's all these different frequencies, and you're only accessing one at a time. So potentially, simultaneously, while you're existing, there's also like a dinosaur in your room or something, or a dragon, even in my mind, because one's just as plausible as the other. And then at the same time, there could be like a future person there as well. And maybe our imaginations are our way to unlock different frequencies, you know? Maybe. I'm still kind of learning and new
That
to that kind of
I mean,
stuff.
I love learning about frequencies because people will just say, okay, like you have your five senses, but like, okay, how do you experience those? Like, and I never went to college, of course. I'm sure there's like science people that can tell me exactly how it works. And if you are one of those science people, you're probably not listening to this podcast because I sound like not a scientist, but
They might listen.
I mean, I think just everyone coming together and giving their opinions would just be the world cure for a
Yeah,
lot of things.
exactly. We need an open forum to be able to discuss stuff. And since we don't have one here in real life, we'll do it on the internet on the podcast. So if there's any
Right?
scientists out there
What
who want
happened to
to
forums?
put their two
Like,
cents in,
that used to be a thing. Like, if you wanted to figure out anything, now it's YouTube videos. If you don't know how to do it on a YouTube video, then we have just like it's like we are so smart because we have all this technology, but without the technology, are we really that smart?
exactly. Oh, exactly. Like I love me some books, man.
I
Like
gotta get
anytime.
into books, man. I have so many, and I have the Spanish dictionary, which I'm sorry to anyone who may be like a language teacher or anything, but I can't afford a Spanish tutor, and so I was very upset when they canceled Duo, just like they canceled TikTok. But they
Yeah,
brought it back for some reason. Like that kind of makes me wonder though, why are they bringing like canceling everything and bringing it back? Are they like restructuring these apps to get your
yes,
information from your Google or your Apple? Because that's what everyone has is either Google or Apple.
yeah. Well, Facebook Messenger has this new thing where they'll like go into your memories from the chat and talk about your chat from like this and this time. Not even like a year, like specific time. It's just random. So I don't know if they have made an AI like looking through our stuff or whatever, but I feel like it's irrelevant. I don't trust that they're digging through our stuff. And at the same time, I do feel like they took TikTok down, did something to it, and then reinstalled it. I'm not exactly sure like what it was, but I mean they banned me again. I'm permanently banned again. So yeah. All it took was one video.
I'm saying censorship, man. The censorship is going way too far.
Yeah, they're trying to stop me from spreading love and light and joy.
Well, they can't stop you here because, like I said, try. Go ahead and try to do it.
Yes. Yes. Don't let your dreams be dreams, Andy.
And like I said, the Gabby, I don't want to pronounce her name wrong because she deserves so much respect. She was an inspiring vlogger, you know?
Yeah.
And I told you about this a little bit, but it just any kind of content creator that I see, I just have so much empathy for them and sympathy. And then to spend so much time because people don't understand how much time it takes to create content. They're like, oh, you could just do it every day. Yeah, sure. Okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You know? But for this girl that was what she wanted her career to be, so she was like very perfectionist about it, taking retakes all the time, and she only uploaded one video to YouTube which was like Gabby's van life or something. It's trending on Netflix as of 3/3/2025. But
Okay.
it's trending on Netflix, and just the guy that she's with, you can see in her outtakes that I could say some words, but I'm just gonna put it as she should have just, in my opinion, in my solid opinion, she should have just did her own thing without that baggage weighing her down. And then, in my opinion, allegedly, I'm not making any claims here publicly, but in my opinion, his suicide letter that he wrote, complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I got off on that, but she needs to be recognized. And
No, yeah,
before
I will go look
before
that up.
before she died, she only had like 500 views on her own first and only YouTube video of her van life. And then she was murdered. And then after she was murdered, her views fucking skyrocketed to like in the millions.
Yeah, people really gravitate towards the macabre, after somebody has passed, then they want to
Then
fight,
they
then they
want to
want to
hear
speak
what they
up.
have to say. Exactly.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
then
so
that's not.
sad. You're
Yeah, and
only a
they
legend if you die and you had something valuable to say while you were alive. Like
Mhm.
all the legends, you know?
Yeah.
That's when they really became just like blew up. If you die and you had, oh, I forget the name of the one actress that just died. Momsen, not Taylor Momsen. I know it wasn't her, but it was someone close to her.
Yeah. No, Angie Stone died.
Angie's phone.
Angie Stone, and
Angie
then
Stone.
also, and then that George, gosh, I can't remember his last name. He just died too. But I mean, people are kind of designed in this society with technology, with the internet to be a little bit less empathetic, to be a little less human. And honestly, if people didn't have that, if they just had to be a community or drive to see their friend in person because talking on the phone wasn't good enough, you couldn't video chat, you wanted to actually go and see your person, you know? Be like, hey, bestie, how are you? And then, like, everybody in that community would show support to each other, would know when something was wrong with somebody. We would all kind of take care of each other. And here, it's still like that for the most part. I mean, I see people trying to disconnect, but I don't let them if I can help it. Like, we all have to stay grounded and maybe.
Yeah, I've really noticed that about you is you will take time out of your day to go help someone else like in person. You
Yeah.
know, and so our listeners have to be a little bit understanding, okay? Because this is a laid back podcast. We're not going to be uptight about the schedule. We're not uptight about anything, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Except
you
for the
said, to go help someone and read someone a story who cannot physically hold a book because they have shakes or whatever, that
Mhm.
to me is admirable. And I used to do that for my grandparents, and we should not expect, to be paid to do something humanitarian.
Yeah.
Like you let me use your kitchen and I'll bring food, a kind of trade and barter
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. There's no need for money.
Yeah. Like it used to be, like in smaller communities, like people could band together with their kids. Like, okay, out of this group of women, this woman watches all the kids with this person one day and they swap out the next and they just go throughout the community doing different things on the land. Like we need to pick these apple trees and we need to, shell these peas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
because that would
check
not
this
only
phone.
provide jobs for daycare, because I don't even want to get started on the price of fucking daycare. And then at
It's
the
addictive.
daycare that they're at, who knows what's going on there?
Yeah, there's like a 50-50 chance it could be absolutely horrendous. So,
Yeah, exactly. So if you're in a community to where you know who's watching your child, I would trust that so much more.
absolutely. Especially if you can like see them across the field or whatever, sitting and playing under a tree while you're doing stuff, you know.
Hmm.
And if these littler kids, after they get to the point where they can like walk and stand up and run and not fall all over the place, they can start like, basket weaving for their dexterity,
And
all these
kids
little different
will
things.
eat that up.
Yes, they don't need the internet. They don't need video games. They're supposed to be like, and I'm not saying, we need to get rid of all the technology. It needs to be our choice. It needs to be our selection instead of us doom scrolling and it having such sway on us. Like, I am so tied into what's happening like globally in the news that I sometimes find myself on my phone for quite a while, but I'm researching. And I try to excuse it, but even then I don't like being on my phone all the time. But
No,
I
but I'm
can't
glad that
imagine.
you do, because there are some people who literally cannot, like they can't, like they want to be educated, but they can't because they're like me, like an empath, and I know you are probably an empath too, and the overwhelming sensation that you get from just so much
So all the
can
knowledge
be.
of all the stuff that's going on, yeah, but somebody has to bear witness to the atrocities. Somebody has to speak out and say, "Hey, I acknowledge that this is happening. I'm not blind to this. Let's do something to change it or prevent it."
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, I am not one to sit back and watch, but if I see injustice, I'm not gonna stay quiet.
Mhm. Good.
Absolutely,
Okay. Absolutely. And that's what happens in like a lot of, different kinds of takeovers of governments in different places is that it starts by people seeing bad things and not doing anything about it.
I mean, the only thing I can really, I'm not trying to get too into politics here, but the only order that I did see that Trump signed was an attack on the cartels,
Yeah.
which I kind of agree with and I kind of don't. I kind of agree with because, yes, it needs to be dealt with. People in our neighbor countries should be safe too.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
Mexico. They're like our cousins. They're Jerquithas.
cousin Jerkitis, that's a cousin Jerkitis. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that's a mem-
And those are our essays.
Exactly. Don't get me started on Jerkitis. That's for
Like,
another episode. That's for the following episode. But I'm
because
gonna
you could,
explain.
with the cartels, you could agree that they do need to be labeled as terrorists. Because look what they're doing to the Mexican government and the Mexican people. Like, man, they need to be free from all the crazy breaking of the laws and stuff too. And no one needs a whole bunch of drugs.
Ugh, for real. But that, like I said, that's one thing. That's one order that Trump signed that I can kind of get behind, but I don't really know if he knows what he's messing with. This is a
Yeah,
Cheeto Face versus Pablo Escobar.
yeah. Well, I mean, from what I've heard, and especially considering like exactly like what's going on politically in Mexico, like I'm very glad that they're getting rid of like the Tren de Agua people. Like some of the stuff that they do to innocent people, like they need to be taken out. And I hate saying that, but there's a
No,
difference. Yeah, there's a difference between being kind of tribal and protecting your own community versus being a warlord, because that's basically what the cartels are. They're modern day warlords, and we don't need that kind of lawlessness and danger.
exactly, because I am not legally, but I might as well be married to a Hispanic man, and his family's in Mexico. And guess what? We want to go see them, but I don't want to have to worry about taking my child there because it's too dangerous?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
So we're
Exactly. And
about
you
to just
shouldn't
meet
have
up in a
to.
whole nother location.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to. Like I want to go and visit Uganda one day. I want to go back to Australia one day, and I don't want to have to worry about anything happening to me or my kids, or my husband even. Like let's just fix the world and then we can go explore it together like it's Minecraft for real.
Absolutely. Why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be friends?
Exactly, man. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I support Daddy T, as some people call him, Daddy Trump. I don't like that fucking term. It makes me gag in my mouth a little bit. But
No, but the reason that they're comfortable doing that is because half of them don't have a daddy in their house and never did. Like half of America has an absent father complex.
No, that's funny because like I had an absent father, but my father, I would vote my father, my own father, for president before I voted Donald Trump for president.
And of course, the people have been played as always. It has nothing to do with who wins, who loses. It's always the American people who lose
And
every
see, my
freaking time.
husband was on the theory that it just alternates back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Democrat, Republic, Democrat, Republic. When are we gonna actually just come together and just decide like we're the United States of America? Maybe we should stand united and like I
Mm-hmm.
know everyone can't believe the same thing. That's kind of like unreasonable, but can we not like live in unity?
Exactly. Like each community should take the best from all of them mixed together and ride with that. You know what I mean? Like ride with the best of what you've learned from everything you've experienced and everything your parents and grandparents have experienced. You bring the best forward into the future and let the bad stuff go. Like the only people who are being racist like are people who still can't let that stuff go. You know, we're all just people and most of us are poor people who are struggling and we shouldn't be. And that's cuz the rich people tell us to.
Well, see, I think there's a very like me and you, I'm just gonna say for the viewers or for the listeners because they can't view us, but we are both white. So, but that in no means does that mean we have like white privilege, as in we live a better
Yeah.
life than most black people. Like, that's not the case.
Yeah, did you see that? Okay, so we were talking about our cousins or Keith's.
Because
Whenever you heard of Theo Vaughn, right?
I wish I did.
Okay, so Theo Vaughn, he's like this little southern white dude. He always wears his hat kind of backwards. He's got like long hair, kind of like the little twin brothers, the blonde boys that used to go to school with us. Kind of like that kind of attitude. And he's on Instagram and I think X as like his bio information is your cousin, and he's talking about this white privilege, like, and he's so right. Like people can look at us and be like, "Oh, you have white privilege." Well, we grew up poor. We were not privileged. Like our privilege was having a roof over our head and having food to eat before we went to bed. You know, like
Yeah,
goddamn,
for real.
he
Like, so
yeah,
just so we can get over racism, let's not just be racist. Let's just not be racist towards anyone. If they're
yeah,
Jewish, if they're white, if they're black, it does not matter what their color is. Please just treat
yep,
them like the next human being that you would walk up on
exactly.
the street.
Yeah, treat him
Because
like your brother, because that could be your brother, you know?
exactly. I mean, if you are of Christian belief, then we are all God's children. So, I mean, who's one above the other?
Exactly. Like the only thing, like I will treat people based on, you know, their merits. But if I don't know somebody, yeah, I hear people all the time like, "Oh, respect isn't given, it's earned." I give respect until there's a need to rescind it. And even then, I'm still respectful if I'm cross with somebody, you know? So,
I very much agree with you on that because my motto has been very much like that. It wasn't the same words, but it was, I will like you until you give me a reason to dislike you.
exactly. Exactly. And if
Exactly.
everybody
It's
stopped
it's
getting
just like a
so
bank.
offended,
It's like you're gonna either like add to my bank, like add positives or deduct negatives. It depends on what you do.
right? And there really are energy vampires out there.
If you deduct negatives and never input positives, then it literally is a bank. It can't just be, I'm not just speaking financially, I'm speaking like emotionally. If you
Hmm.
feed me emotionally, I'm going to feed you emotionally. But if I'm feeding you emotionally all the time, I'm going to get depleted and you're going to be bankrupt.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And I wish more people understood that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're so focused on the financial aspect because that's what America is about, right? The land of the free. We're all about chasing the dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah, that consumerism. Well, I gotta make this money so I can buy this cute shit.
Not even so I can buy this cute shit, just so I can feed my children.
That too, yeah. That
It's
too.
insane. It's so crazy that
Mhm.
I would rather live in like a world country where I know how to trap and clean and cut and
Mhm.
cook my food just without consumerism. Because
Girl, there's no
consumerism,
reason.
we're gonna get on that probably when we get on
Yeah.
the when we get the U.S. Transportation. Because I want to talk about the transportation too, just foreshadowing. But it's a topic.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do it right here in the US too. I think that's called homesteading.
Exactly, girl. I literally I seen a Facebook video and I did not tag you in it
Mhm.
only because it was a trash bin made of plastic and I know how much we hate plastic, but if we're going to use plastic for anything,
Mhm.
collecting rainwater is a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
So these people, you know how like you have your drains that like or I think they're called drains. I may be wrong. There's probably another word for them. But when your water drains off your roof and they like go through the rails,
Yeah, like through the gutter.
gutters.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for. Anyways, so you cut your gutter to like kind of like just filter off into this trash can, right? But you flip the trash can upside down and you cut a hole in it with like a wire mesh so it filters
Yeah.
out the leaves and stuff.
Cool.
And I'm really about to start just collecting rainwater and
See, you
testing it for
can't say
myself, doing my
that.
own science experiment and getting those like testing water strips that you were talking about.
Them little people out there who making the laws saying, "Oh, you can't collect rainwater." Watch me. It's water and it's free, and I'm gonna play with it if I want to.
Watch me. No hands.
Right? No hands, just a gutter, just a dripper, man.
Look, Mom, no hands. And then, who's to say that I can't put a fucking testing strip in water that I collected from Mother Earth?
Yep.
What? Can you please tell me the law on that? Because I wasn't aware.
Yeah. And it shouldn't have been passed. Like we should be able to collect rainwater. And then, like I think it was a while back too that was like a big deal. You know, where people, oh, you better hide that big old bucket. People are gonna think you're collecting rainwater because you're not supposed to. Like whatever. You know, this is a free country. At least in my mind, we're gonna make it free if not. And
Exactly.
then
Land of the free. Hello, excuse me.
they just don't want us to know exactly what they're poking out with this damn chemtrails. And it's now in the Australian news they're talking about the chemtrails. It's like they can't deny it. It's really happening. Somebody needs to quit. You know, and if that means all of us moms go out there and hunt down the pilots and then just verbally be like, hey, you better give us a good reason for why you're doing what you're doing instead of saying, oh, it's not my responsibility. They're making us all sick. And this is not okay.
The sad part is I wanted to be a pilot and I would be down for the shits to go interview pilots cuz that's what I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to be a
Mm-hmm.
few things. I wanted to be a mortician just because I was like an emo kid and I was obsessed with death and I just thought making dead people look pretty for a bunch of money would be cool, which I
Yeah,
still
and
think would be cool.
nobody else would have the stomach to do that, you know, unless you're like comfortable with that. Like,
I mean, I
yeah,
am, which it's still in my possibilities. But I mean, I'm
yeah, it's
not
a hard
pursuing
job.
that right now. Obviously, I'm a podcaster.
You're
but
doing good. You're doing
but
good.
also like I wanted to be a veterinarian until I found out that I couldn't deal with blood and I can't kill animals. I can't deal with dying animals. I would be a sad person all the time.
Aw. Mm-hmm.
But third on my list was not mortician. That was the first. An air pilot. Like I wanted to be in the air, flying, but I the only reason I turned down being a pilot, that was my first dream was being a pilot, but the only reason I turned it down was because I knew just from other pilots speaking that I could be given orders that I don't want to follow through with and I still have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is like, if you're going to take away my freedom of choice, that's not a career for me.
Nope, not at all.
It's like if I am just traveling like passengers from point A to point B, I would be okay with that. But with the very catastrophic like decline in employment in air traffic control and all these plane crashes, I don't know if I would even feel safe going to work if I was
Nope.
a pilot.
Yeah, I don't think you would.
Absolutely not. Like, how am I going to know if someone else is going to crash into me? I mean, I'm already afraid of stupid drivers.
Yeah,
I couldn't even fathom the anxiety of getting in a plane crash.
right. Absolutely.
Especially if I'm the one conducting the aircraft. I couldn't. I would lose my absolute mind.
Right. Girl, you've been in a plane before, right?
I have.
Can I tell you about this wild dream I had one time about a plane? Like, since we're
Yes.
talking about being
Give
pilots.
me 5 seconds. I am all settled. So, plane crashes.
Yeah, yeah. We were I had this dream that I was a pilot, and it was a really serious situation. Like, as soon as I started having this dream, it was like somebody pulled me in, to this situation, like a simulation type deal. So I'm in the front of the plane, like there's just red flashing lights everywhere. There's like the control panels in the front, like on the dashboard and everything. And there's this lady, an Asian lady, yelling at me in a language I don't understand. And I have a headset on, and she's like trying to get me to drive this plane and to fly this plane and save it from crashing. I'm like, lady, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know how to do this. I am not the one. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know. My headset's not working. I don't know what's going on. I'm not the one. And then we crash, and I wake up, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
Oh
It
my
was
goodness,
so real.
I really wish I could remember a lot of my dreams, but I had the scariest dream. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it on the podcast, even though I can't remember it. But I had the scariest dream, and I just woke up in such a sweat, and I really thought it was real. I really, now that you're talking about dreams, I really wish I could remember that dream because it was just so scary.
Right. I'm like, girl, I have such lucid dreams.
I never do. That's another thing that I would like to ask the listeners. Like, are your dreams totally nonsense and just make no sense at all like mine, or are they lucid? Because my
Right.
husband wakes up almost every fucking night saying, you wouldn't believe the dream I had. Like, how do you get
Hmm.
rest with all those dreams?
And it's not like we have a choice about it. Like, I guess the people who worry a whole lot, I don't know, man. Like, I've always had like really, really strong, vivid dreams. And I've learned over the years I can change what happens in them if it's like a recurring dream.
That is really, really cool because I used to suffer from night terrors, and thank God I've not had that problem for a very long time.
Well,
And
that's
maybe
good.
it's because I have like a 200-pound plus like guy to cuddle up next to if I wake up and get scared. But there was one dream. Now that you talk about the plane crash dream, really, oh, it was a motorcycle accident. Girl,
Mm,
the most vivid fucking dream I had lately, and I just am remembering it now. I
Extension.
never, okay, like, do you experience your dream from like a first person view or like a third person view?
Sometimes it's both.
Sometimes both. But this one was, not only was it like realistic, it was like from my POV, you know?
Right, right.
Which
Fine.
made it even more realistic and freaked me the hell out because I was riding, I don't know if we have any bike rider listeners. I like to ride bikes, okay? I mean, I've never rode a real bike, but I have this like scooter. This motorized scooter is like fucking, I don't know how many motor power it has, but it goes
Right.
fast, right?
They're cool. I got mad respect for them. They're brave. They're braver than me. I need a roof.
Yeah, Elena's birthday present was a motorized scooter, and she was so excited. She's like, "That's the first time I've ever drove a vehicle by myself without anyone riding with me." And
Oh, that's so cute.
it goes like 15 miles per hour max.
Oh, that's adorable
But
though.
this scooter can go up to like 50 miles per hour, probably 60 if you're pushing it. But I don't
Dang.
dare go that fast, you know?
Yeah.
But I had a dream that I was on my scooter. I say scooter. We call it the Harley. It's not a Harley, but I was on this Harley. Okay, I'm gonna say Harley because it sounds cooler. So I'm on this Harley, right? This red and
Mhm.
white Harley, and I got my husband with me, and we just roll up on this like pack of bikers, right? This biker gang. And I recommended we go somewhere. I don't know. Oh, the biker rally. And they're like, oh, the biker rally's for weenies, weenie hut juniors.
Mhm.
So they said the P word. I'm trying to be I'm trying to
Right.
censor myself a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's for wussies. So I'm like, all right, I'm not a wussy. Like, let's go on the road. And so we get on the road, but then like I'm like racing with these bikers, racing as in going like as fast as I can, and then there's this fucking semi that has wrecked and they're blocking the two-lane interstate, right?
No.
And I like try to stop, but I skid and my bike goes underneath me and I just start sliding. And from my POV, I see myself sliding off the bike into the truck. Like it was like
Yeah.
if I've ever had a near death experience, that's the closest I've ever had.
Dang, girl, that's scary.
It was scary, and I was just like, and then the next day was we were traveling and the weather was really shitty and people were driving like assholes.
Yeah.
People driving on ice like in 60 fucking miles per hour like it's like sunny and 75.
Dang.
And I'm like, bro, I was having a heart attack. I was literally like just clenching the seat the whole time I was there. I'm like, I just had a dream. I got in a car crash. I don't want to get in a car crash. I don't like. That's all. I was just
Yeah.
praying for my safety the whole way there.
Right. Well, I'm glad you were praying. You got
I
to in
mean, you
that
can
kind of
say praying,
situation.
but I call it talking to my ancestors because people say if you're not talking to Jesus, you're not praying. Well, I can pray to Mother Mary. I can pray to my
Yep.
ancestors. I was praying to everyone I really thought
Right.
would keep me safe at that time.
Right. Help me, dear Lord, baby Jesus.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, you don't have to pray to Jesus like he's a baby. Well, I like the baby
Yeah.
version better.
Yeah, the baby version's cute.
I can pray to whatever Jesus I want to. Talladega Nights, that's classic. If you can't pen that reference, it's Talladega Nights. Go watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
pretty
like to
funny.
imagine my Jesus like a rock star
Like a
or
cover
like
for
a
the full
wearing an
band.
AC/DC t-shirt.
Oh man, I try to be really like a peaceful person in my dreams, but sometimes like there's always something going on, and half the time it's like kind of cataclysmic. And so I'm like fighting to save people, like trying to save animals. Like this, it gets ridiculous. There's this whole ass like theory of mine, but we don't have to get into that today. But you
It's
did.
okay because your dreams sound so much like my husband's, and he has them all the time. He's like, "We're in this building. It's always in a building." He's like, "We're in this
Mhm.
building. I'm trying to either get you out or get you in the building, and there's these bad people."
Mhm. Yeah. Maybe it's like a simulation because people don't really know a lot about our brains and our subconscious and like
Yeah, no, that's like one thing that has like not it's been researched, but they can't really find a fucking answer for it.
exactly. Like exactly. I don't know. I just feel like if we're unknowingly being like summoned somehow to compete in these little games or whatever, you know, that I'm gonna win.
Okay, so detour. Do you believe in aliens?
Sorry, I was yelling at a neighbor cat, or well, a stray cat, I think.
So, do you believe in aliens?
I feel like maybe that's a possibility. Like my instincts are saying I can't just say, "Oh, that's impossible." You know what I mean? My instincts are saying that it's probable. Now, where they come from,
Well, there's also the question of what do you define as an alien?
something that can seem like a person but is not a person. You know, like something with human-like features or abilities, maybe.
Okay, so you maybe believe in that kind of alien, but as an alien, as in like just another life form on another planet?
I don't think that I don't think that they're from other planets. I think they're from here. You know, honestly, I
That's an
really, I
interesting.
think,
I've never heard that actual answer.
yeah, because in my mind, especially if they're more advanced than us and if they're more intelligent and able to hide easier too, God probably made them as well, in my mind. You know, which maybe in 20 years I'll be an advocate for aliens, right? Because they were made by God too, but you know, we'll see.
It just boggles my mind how like people with no technology back in the day built like the pyramids. That is like one of the mysteries of the world, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that honestly, water probably had a lot more to do with it. I think that Egypt used to be more fertile, you know, for sure. And I think there's evidence to support that with the Nile, you know, like all the paintings and stuff, and they had like civilizations there that were just, you know, immaculate.
Yeah.
And but like I really think that they probably used water power to move a lot of stuff. And then there's just not a lot of evidence of that. I'm sure they did use slaves as well. I'm sure they used animals probably. Maybe they even had giants helping them. I mean, there's clear records of giants. You know, just like there is dragons. Like I feel like I'm in Game of Thrones sometimes in this dang world.
That is a whole episode. I would love to get into a episode of Giants and Dragons.
Right? So
But
I mean,
yeah, I just don't get the precision because the
yeah,
precision requires like mathematics and stuff, you know? You
yeah,
can't just like build a mediocre thing and it just stays forever.
yeah. And then also like those it was like these little pots, I guess you could call it, like structures made out of metal, or no, not metal. It was granite. And they were like so precise that even measured on an x-ray, you know, it was just so perfect.
Right.
And they were
So
they were from Egypt too. So,
maybe that'll be a questioner for our listeners. Like, what do you think happened?
yeah.
Like, I would love to hear. I would love to hear theories.
I have a theory.
The water theory, other than the water
Yeah.
theory.
Well,
Let's
well
hear it.
they like well with the precision and stuff and learning the mathematics, like when you have water and it's like in a bowl or something like a large wok, I guess, like you know, just some sort of round container, like you can tap it a certain way and sound affects it a certain way as well. I think that they knew about water and sound and the frequencies, and it helped, you know, like they found all these different shapes and stuff that helped them with precision as far as being able to build and create things.
Yes, like you said, it all comes back to frequency, and I feel like everything is energy or sound, like or water, like physical material. Everything is made of energy, and so that
Mm-hmm.
makes so much sense.
It's cool. They don't teach us this in school. We don't get to ponder and have our imaginations. But they're like, no, you're crazy. You need to go see the guidance counselor.
Okay, I say this with all due respect, but fuck the guidance counselor. Okay, if they say that, they just don't want to deal with you.
Exactly. They want you to go. They want you to be guided back into the box that everybody else has stuffed in.
Go conform like all the other students.
Yep. Yep.
And there you have it. This has been a little taste of our laid-back discussions with Andi and Emily. Thanks again for checking us out, and stay tuned for longer discussions, more topics, and hopefully a little better audio quality. Have a topic that you'd like us to cover? Reach out to us on Facebook at Laid Back Discussions with Andi and Emily, or find us on Instagram at Laid Back Discussions Podcast. Thanks again. Until next time, listeners.